Past, present, and future. Where have we been? Where are we now? And where are we going? Legendary basketball player Kobe Bryant came out with a video before his passing, and the gist of the video was on Mount Everest, basically stating that there's no elevator to the top, that the foundation of success is not built overnight. It takes a long period of time to see the fruits of your labor. And I couldn't be happier today to have my guest, Lori Watt, the founder, president, CEO, financial advisor of IAG Wealth Partners. So appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm happy to be here.
So kind of keeping with the past, present, future staircase here, where did it all start? Kind of how in the beginning was IAG created and up until this point?
Well, we started in 1985, and I had previously worked for another firm in financial planning for 5 years. So at that point, I felt like I at least had the foundation to branch out on my own. So I started with a small office in Oconomowoc. It was just me, and I did everything. We didn't have computers back then. So I have all of my handwritten records and financials and compliance records and all of that. And I did all that in addition to meeting with clients and beginning to serve them from a financial planning perspective. And I had a few clients from the previous firm who had come with me. So I also had a young son, a baby, who was born right after I started IAG. So I had to juggle that too. But I had already committed so much to starting and didn't want to quit at that point. So we kept charging forward. And in the beginning, it was just me for a couple of years. But little by little, we added some people who I knew would be a good fit and who complemented the areas that we needed some room for growth. And so over the years, we have really grown by adding great people who share common values and common work ethics and are committed to serving our clients. And we figure out their strengths and then build the business around them. And that's how I brought you into the mix.
So I think that's a great segue into kind of climbing the staircase here and going into present time. And I guess we kind of talked a little bit about how IAG started, a little bit about how our relationship started, or kind of my own personal growth with my past job or past career. That was roughly about 5 to 7 years now. I was in CNC, computer numerical control. Machine tool distribution, basically partnering with companies on machines that sold anywhere from $80,000 up to $500,000 into the $1 million plus range. And basically what happened there is around 2020, I really hit my stride. I was in year 2 or 3 of that, and I don't say that from an arrogant standpoint. I say that because I really wasn't looking for a career change at that point. And all of a sudden COVID hit, that big nasty word that's COVID. And in the sales industry, when you're meeting with potential partners or looking to partner with companies, having to be in their facilities, kind of understanding their processes, their efficiencies, and what have you there, I mean, we shut down for a year. So I couldn't even go into these companies. And then B, on the other side of it, I mean, several of these machines were made over in Japan, Taiwan, Korea. And I mean, the lead times, since they were kind of shut down with everything going on in the world, they got pushed out to, say, a year and a half. And I look at it from my perspective as kind of a godlike moment. You're wondering where the future of your career is going. Lori gave me a call. And I mean, I knew her from, I did some work with Dick, kind of some sales stuff from that standpoint. And then all throughout college, kind of into my early career, I worked at Bristol Cone Pines, and you and Dick were members there. So we kind of slowly built just what I would consider a wonderful relationship. But you gave me a call and said, I think I got something interesting to discuss with you. Went over, sat around the family dinner table for probably 2 or 3 months, and what I would like to call full transparency. I mean, everything, I wasn't looking for a new career at that point, but I'm also being kind of the risk taker that I am, or open to new opportunities for growth. I had a 1.5-year-old daughter at that point. We had another one on the way, and just kind of seeing what the future held from that career standpoint. And I guess kind of segueing into the present, you have several other financial advisors that really don't come from financial advising or a finance background. So what's the thought process on, and it doesn't have to be me personally reaching out to an individual like myself, but why go in a different direction? And
Well, I think I have learned over my 40 years almost of running IAG that the type of person who makes a great advisor needs to have compassion, dedication, very strong ethics and morality. That's so much more than the knowledge of the industry. There is so much to learn in this industry, and it's best learned in the process. And so what we have done over the years is bring in really good people who share those common values and give them the experience of learning in the trenches and working side by side. And I've done it with other advisors that have turned out to be some of our top advisors, just very dedicated and take excellent care of their clients. And so I am always on the lookout for people that God is putting in my path that I think would be a great fit for IAG. And I had seen your work ethic and your commitment, and I knew that you would be a good fit, and I wanted to make that investment in you so that you could be part of our long-term future. I'm looking for the next generation. I love mentoring the next generation of advisors because I want IAG to continue on with the dedication and commitment that we've had over the years in serving our clients. And at some point it won't be me. I want to make sure that we have the next generation of advisors, and I saw that person in you.
I can't thank you enough for the opportunity, and I kind of found something that I'm passionate about in life. And I mean, your parents always tell you growing up that you need to find a career that's not considered work or not considered a job. And I mean, personally, I really never believed that to be true. And I think a lot of people in this world, I'd be willing to say that 80-90% of people are going to have a job or just be in a career their entire life. I finally, and it took until roughly about 32 years old, found a career that I am absolutely, I dove headfirst into, and something that I'm passionate about. So I guess looking back 4 years ago, I just appreciate that opportunity. All right, so in sticking with kind of the present and what I'm seeing as I try meeting with prospective clients, individuals that I think I could potentially help out, there's one topic that is extremely significant, and that's kind of trust and confidentiality. And I mean, when individuals want to talk about their finances or their money, I mean, you can pretty much rank things. You may be religious, you may not be, but in kind of this order, a religion or a family aspect, and then your money comes into play, and it's very important, and it's kind of a very private thing. And people want to know that basically you're not going to go and talk to other family members, people in your network, friends. So I guess from the standpoint that I'm taking, going back to kind of the beginning of what we were just talking about, the testing aspect, just even to get to this licensed point. I mean, the testing took me, let's say, roughly a year or so with infant children. During that time period, there's a lot of sleepless nights. I mean, you're up till 2-3 in the morning, just because you're laser focused to get across the finish line. And in our industry, it's kind of, they call it a fiduciary standpoint of where you have to have your client's best interest in mind. And coming from the standpoint of sharing people's finances or financial information, it's almost like an attorney-client privilege. We could lose our license from that. And in going back to the start, just getting to this point, I'm not willing to take the standpoint or just release people's financial information. You're the OSJ in-house here. We have a lady, our Chief Compliance Officer, Jennifer Von Ruden. What are kind of the guardrails, or if somebody kind of talked to you about kind of the trust confidentiality, you've been doing this for a few more years than me, what's your experience in kind of taming people's thoughts or mindsets on that?
It is ingrained into everything that we do that we have to maintain utmost confidentiality at all times, to the point that we have to get permission in writing if we even talk to a client's attorney when they ask us to. We have to have that in writing. And if we don't talk to that attorney or accountant. Talking to family members would just be totally, or friends, totally off the grid. We just would absolutely never do that. And it's just part of our thought process. It is ingrained in what we do and how we think. And you mentioned attorney-client privilege. It's also like the medical world, where there are HIPAA rules about who they can talk to. We abide by those same restrictions, and we are dedicated to making that happen. We are never going to discuss things.
So just so I'm understanding what you're saying, we'll wrap this up here. So let's say I'm a prospect or working with somebody in this industry, and let's say they do go and do that. This has nothing to do with our firm, with me personally, anybody. Could that individual basically file a claim, and is there the chance that that financial representative could lose their license?
Yes.
So yeah. I mean, let's from the trust or confidentiality standpoint, always be reassured that your stuff is safe here with IAG and me moving forward. And now that we have the trust and confidentiality thing kind of behind us, the next big thing that I'm seeing is experience. And several individuals see that. I mean, my license was officially kind of activated. I became a financial advisor in the middle of July this year. And one of the agreements, or one of the things that I've been blessed from you, is I've had the privilege over the past 4 years to work directly with Lori's clients and on her team. So I think in sitting in on your meetings for the past 4 years, I think the biggest takeaway that I've had is that all clients are different. You need to really kind of segment them, because I mean, someone in their 70s or 80s is going to be asking different questions than somebody in their 50s or 60s. And that goes along with people that are more my age in their 30 or 40s. So I think the things I've learned that of the individuals that are more elderly is they're more worried about estate planning. Kind of what's the transfer of their assets after they're gone? Are we going to be a part of that? Are we going to ensure that once they pass away that we're going to assist every way, shape, or form possible in assisting the next generation? And even if the next generation doesn't decide to team with us, that we're going to at least make sure that their accounts transfer properly. Irma's a big one, and I kind of laugh about this one because in the first year or two, I mean, quite frankly, I thought that was a hurricane. And then second, I think of my great aunt, Irene, so I had no clue what that was. But really understanding that that deals with Medicare stuff and kind of the taxation on benefits of Medicare. And kind of the final aspect of that I wanted to touch on is the estate tax. Kind of the wealth tax is the nickname on that. So that's set to sunset here in 2025. So where is the current regime or new political landscape? What's that going to be? And just staying on top of all these various topics that these elderly individuals may have for us. And then, I mean, somebody in their 50s or 60s, they may have a totally different kind of mindset on where they're at. They may come to Lori and be like, well, can I retire now? Am I going to be able to afford this? What's Social Security look like? When do we start taking that? Being able to create an income plan that when are we going to start pulling from our portfolios? Are we going to pull from the taxable accounts? Are we going to pull from the non-taxable accounts? Basically stuff of that nature. And then kind of the final landscape is individuals my age that are in their 30s and 40s. And I think that my friend group are just individuals that we kind of see maybe at different kids' birthday parties or family events, really understanding what they're looking to accomplish. And I find it kind of funny, and you'd be totally opposite, because I think educating the youth, and I'm calling 30 to 40-year-olds the youth, but realizing that the next biotech stock isn't a way to grow wealth. I mean, that can maybe be a small percentage of your investments or your portfolio, but cryptocurrencies. What's the discussion on that? I mean, over the years, did you think this would be a talking point? And just kind of the education of really realizing that this is a marathon and not a sprint. I mean, wealth management is not built overnight. It's built with discipline over long periods of time. I guess, can you kind of shed some insight on maybe any of the stuff that I've mentioned?
Yeah, you know, over the years, it's always fun to kind of dabble in some of those fun things that you mentioned, the crypto or the hot new biotech stock. And many of our clients have what they call their fun money, but they come to us for their serious long-term money. Even if they could do it themselves, I've had so many clients over the years who have come to us because they know somewhere down the road they're going to either have a planned event like retirement happen or an unplanned event where they pass away unexpectedly. They want to have a plan in place so that their family has a trusted relationship that can continue on at that difficult time. And even if it's a planned event and it's retirement, there is so much planning that goes into that year before and those first few years after, where we can really have a significant impact on their net worth by minimizing taxes, by minimizing IRMA costs, taxation on Social Security, when to start Social Security. So many different factors that come into play. And by starting early, the closer they get to that planned event, the more confidence that they have looked at everything.
So I think in coming full circle just on the experience, credibility thing, I mean, first off, I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because allowing me the opportunity to sit in on these meetings over the past 4 years, it wasn't just kind of a time pass. This was becoming a sponge and absorbing all of the basically knowledge, insight, and industry professional like yourself, and kind of fielding the questions of what to expect from the various age levels, or questions you may get during those meetings. So I sincerely thank you for that opportunity.
Well, you're welcome. And I would also say that your experience in sitting in on those meetings, I have also seen my clients develop a trust and a respect for you to the point that they contact you. They don't contact me because you have built that relationship with them and they trust your expertise. So you have gained that expertise over the last 3 years. So you're ready to hit the ground running.
So kind of the final aspect of things that I want to touch on here is performance. Performance gets brought up a significant amount, either in your meetings or kind of talking about maybe partnering with a younger representative like myself. And I'm not going to be talking about in-house performance here. I kind of want to touch on the performance standpoint of your portfolios in the sense of maybe large cap growth funds you've been in. Maybe you've just been sitting in the S&P 500 over the past 10 years and you've seen 10, 12, 13% growth on an annualized basis for roughly a decade now. And some of the representatives that we have from the various firms that come in here, one of which is Goldman Sachs. And they recently came out with an article here. Goldman Sachs forecasts just a 3% S&P 500 annual return over the next 10 years, down from the roughly 13% that we've averaged annually over the past decade. So how does this pertain to us, our clients, or what have you there? And before I kind of ask your opinion on that, I think for me, in the standpoint, in dealing with individuals that are in roughly their 50s or 60s, who may still be in just 100% of the market in the S&P, and I mean or large cap growth fund, they've noticed sizable returns over the past decade. But I think industry experts are coming out and just saying, kind of temper expectations, saying we don't know what the future is. We're not in the business of making predictions on that. We may have our own opinions, our thoughts. We may take slight advantages or tilt strategies to kind of allocate what the opinions of us are, but we're not going to go down the rabbit hole of predicting the future. And I kind of think that people really need to temper their expectations from their portfolio. And this is where A, mitigating risk, and B, diversification come into play. And that's what IAG is built on. And I mean, when you hear numbers like this, what's kind of your industry insight on this?
Well, I think, throughout the years that I've been doing this, so often I see people come in before they start working with us, and they are 100% in one type of investment, and it tends to be the one that has done the best most recently. And then as time goes on, it doesn't necessarily do the best going forward. And so our approach is not to pick the winners, because no one truly knows what is going to be the winner. Our approach is to design a financial plan for you around your particular situation, your needs, your goals, and then make sure your portfolio is designed around your financial plan. And then continue to monitor it and adjust it and make revisions to it based on what's happening in the real world. So it's a totally different mindset, but it's one that can have a predictable path towards success.
So I guess in going back, you've been doing this for a few years now, and I mean, I've only been doing this for roughly about 4 years now. Do you think people really need to be looking into information or stuff like this? Because I think the expectations of just sitting in these types of large cap growth funds, I mean, it's in my experience that if you really truly dive into the numbers, or kind of the black swan events, as you say, or where things are from a geopolitical landscape, I mean, we may be in for some tough times here, and that's not our prediction. I'm not saying that, but I don't think people really truly understand that. Let's say your portfolio goes down 30%, you have to recover 43 on the upside. Your portfolio goes down 40%, 67, you go down 50% in the black swan event, your large cap growth fund, you have to recover 100% before you're back to even. So I really think in looking at it from a time horizon for the individuals that may be in their 50s or 60s, looking towards retirement, yes, we are living longer as individuals, so I mean, you still do have some time on your side. But if you've worked your entire life to build this really nice nest egg, are you willing to take maybe a little bit off of kind of the top end returns to significantly reduce the downside? Is that kind of what your thoughts are?
Yeah, and I think when you look at the math on that, and we have some studies that illustrate this, that it's not the percentage return that really matters. It's reducing volatility. And so if we can reduce volatility in your portfolio, you may end up with more money in your account than someone who had a higher percentage return. So it's the math example that you were given. So we want to make sure that we don't have money in the stock market that you need to live on within a 1 to 3 year period of time. And then we look at the 4 to 7 year period of time where we invest in more income oriented investments. And then we focus on the 8 year period for those growth oriented.
And I think that what you just touched on is critical, because people that may be invested a certain way, if you do need to turn on this income plan and say we do have a significant correction, well, you need to withdraw the money at the bottom and you need to recover at the top. So I mean, these are just all various things about either diversification or really diving into what plan is going to be tailored to your needs. So kind of wrapping up, I just want to truly thank you for the opportunity 4 years ago. See how awesome it is, our growth together and kind of where we're going. And thank you for kind of the two of us getting out of our comfort zone doing a podcast here.
Yes.
So I really appreciate your time, Laura.